Today we are talking about longevity hacks. What do you do to live longer, feel better, maybe a little bit sexier? Let's start with you, Dr. Tami.
So what do you do and what actually works?
Okay, what do you do and what actually works? Because there's a long laundry list of things that people do to live longer and better quality life. Problem is, most people don't know what works and what doesn't work.
And we all have our little speed, and we're just going to have fun with this. We're going to kind of tell you about what we do on a daily basis because we live longevity. That's our goal. And things we've tried and didn't do again, things like that, and how they work. So, there's so many questions out there, and there's some that you would be surprised are longevity hacks.
Apple cider vinegar.
Good.
That's a good one?
It is a good one.
All right.
How long can you drink apple cider vinegar, though, before you ruin your teeth?
Oh, I never thought of my enamel.
You have to be careful of your enamel because it's acidic, but it's really, really good. Not poo-pooing it. Just be careful of your enamel and things like that.
All right. Microdosing GLP-1 weight loss drugs.
Oh, if you asked me that 6 years ago, I'd have told you were crazy. But I respect those drugs now. What we're finding, microdosing is giving you longevity. It lowers your insulin resistance, lowers your risk of diabetes and heart disease, gets rid of inflammation in the body. Studies are showing it even may prevent dementia and Alzheimer's.
All right. Coffee. I am Italian. I love my coffee. I think they put it in my bottle.
I think coffee's good. There's many reasons. There's a couple things about coffee you need to know. You're going to find someone that coffee's bad, coffee's good. That's going to be that dilemma. Coffee that's unfiltered through paper may raise your cholesterol. So coffee is cholesterol. It has high cholesterol. So it's not bad cholesterol, but you could have really elevated numbers. So people like doing French press, it's not bad, but you have to pour it through a paper filter. And then we have to be careful about plastics. Almost every coffee maker now is plastic.
Like the ones that come in the cups and you do the thing, you push the button and it's like microplastics.
Well, not only that, what's inside your coffee machine? Plastic. So they're coming out. I want my next longevity hack. I'm going to buy one that's metal, stainless steel, and glass.
That's brilliant. My grandmother used to pour it through this sock. She'd put the grains in.
Was it clean?
The sock? Not a real sock, but like a coffee sock. She poured it through a dirty sock. No. Nana Katie would pour hot water through the grains and make Cuban coffee that way because there were no coffee makers back in the day.
And we're still doing coffee way. And that's probably the cheapest way to do good coffee is to do French press or pour over, as they call it. Just make sure before you drink it that you've also poured it through a filter to catch the cholesterol.
All right. That's a good one. I like that. Ooh, I got one that I hate and I will not do no matter how long it makes me live. Cold plunge.
So it's funny. We own a cold plunge. I have yet to be in it.
Really?
My husband got it for Christmas. He's in it all the time. I will do the cold swimming pool in January, but I haven't gotten the cold plunge. So there's a little bit about that. So some women will say cold plunge is great, but we as women probably shouldn't go to the same temperature men do. So we do better at higher temperatures like 55 to 60 and not as long period of time. And that's still controversial, but
what about if you have thyroid issues? I hear it's a no-go.
So it's a shock to the system. So how cold plunge works, it's almost like a life or death situation to the body. Like suddenly the body's shocked into this adrenaline rush. So yeah, that's why the fence I'm on. Like he hasn't convinced me yet to join him in the freezing cold, frigid waters.
Yeah, but I am a big sauna girl. Like I really want to gift myself one of these days a sauna.
So we this year for Christmas, we bought a cold plunge, which I already admitted I won't do, but we also bought an infrared sauna with red light therapy. And I would say if you have the ability to add one piece of equipment to your life, it would be that. So the infrared sauna heats up the internal part of your body and you sweat from the inside out. And it's probably one of the greatest detoxifiers we have. And we all know that we live in a very toxic world.
All right, the next one. I have a lot of theories on why people say it's poison and it's not good for you, but people have been drinking wine for centuries. I mean, Jesus, he made wine. I mean, everyone was drinking wine. I like a good quality wine. Maybe I'd love to get a brand deal, but I like dry farm wines because I know that they're grown without a lot of sugar and no additives are coming from small batch wineries. I think a lot of the reason that wine is getting a bad rap these days is because they're spraying those grapes with glyphosate and Roundup Ready. So then, of course, we're getting sick because we're just, fast tracking wine into our system, which is high amounts of sugar. So do I still drink wine? Yes. That's my longevity hack.
I hear you protecting your wine.
I am protecting my wine.
So wine is interesting. So not all wines are created equal.
Right.
And yes, Jesus turned water into wine, and they did it back then for medicinal reasons because the water was so bad. So alcohol fermentation and that kind of cleaned water. So alcohol's in our business, people come to me and they're like, you don't ban alcohol in your patients? No, because alcohol in moderation is not bad. Alcohol for somebody who has an alcohol problems can be really bad. It can be detrimental. And then when we talk about alcohol, we live in South Florida. Alcohol is a daily drink. We drink alcohol every day here. It's a very social environment. It's part of every meal. It's part of all of that. And a lot of the wines are really low quality and very high sugar. So it's almost like you're drinking 8 ounces of grape juice. And then some of our clients will have 3 or 4 glasses of wine with their dinner. So that impact on your body is very, very different. If you drink alcohol here, you don't feel good. You have a nice red wine in Italy, you could drink the whole bottle and you don't even feel intoxicated.
Right.
And that is just the difference in the alcohol content versus the sugar content versus how it's manufactured. And in Italy, they drink wine for a very different reason than we do here.
Why?
Starts even young. It's a familial thing at the dinner table.
Oh, yeah. That was at my table growing up.
They share wine as a family, and it isn't about, drinking because we're stressed out and we had a bad day at work. So all that compounds. So alcohol for me, longevity wise, I wouldn't tell someone to go drink alcohol to live longer, but I also won't tell you if you have a glass of good red wine at night that you're going to live less of a quality life than if you didn't.
There's nobody alive to arrest anymore, but as a child, like if my family thought nothing of pouring a little wine for us to try, just to sip. When we took the kids to Italy and we were at a family restaurant and they served the kids wine. My daughter's like, I'm not 21. They don't care. You could be 12 and sitting next to your parent, and that's okay. And that's kind of why I was saying if it's a good wine, it's a quality wine, it's a wine that has, the grapes haven't been sprayed with anything. To your point,
in moderation.
In moderation. All right. I like that.
I'm older than you. I remember being in kindergarten and the nuns served us Lambrusco to get us used to it so we wouldn't spit out our communion.
You're kidding.
No, it was on our cafeteria tray, a little glass of Lambrusco so we get used to the taste that when we made our first communion, we wouldn't spit it out. And that was legal.
That's crazy.
But I'm older than Gail.
You can't be that much older than me. All right. Eat meat.
Eat meat, don't eat meat, So the more we age, scientifically proven, the body, and I don't know why they picked the age 66. It's a kind of strange age, but they know that after the age of 66, the human body will degrade quickly if it doesn't have animal protein.
Okay. I didn't know that.
So they've done studies on that. So the older we get, the more animal protein we need. Animal protein, I always laugh. My standing joke is God didn't give me these big teeth just to eat carrots with. Like, I grew up a carnivore. I like meat. It's just, we go to extremes. So if you go meat only, carnivore, you actually shorten your telomeres on your DNA and you live a shorter life. If you go vegetable only, you don't get enough nutrition. So really, we should have a really balanced diet. We shouldn't eat too much hard, fatty things, but have them in moderation and make sure we're getting a lot of good quality, lean animal meats in our diet.
And I just want to add, and it might be on the search for another brand deal. If you can, try to get a good hormone-free meat, like a happy cow. Like Snake River is the meat I drop ship to my house because you know how that animal has been treated and humanely. I think that's really important. I've also heard it's important to maybe have a bone-in meat because, yes, like they do with all of our foods, our meats get manipulated too. Something's been done to it before it's packaged and put there in your grocery store. So, meat is something you need, sadly, like everything else in this world, to make sure you're getting it from the right source.
Now we have lab grown meat.
Yeah.
It's banned in Florida, so we're safe for a while. But people are like, what's wrong with that? It's a lot.
It's a lot. We could do a whole podcast on and listen, I got into the lab grown meat there for a hot minute, but then you start, peeling back the layers,
so
and the curtains, and you're like, Who's behind the lab-grown meat?
So lab-grown meat isn't vegetarian meat. It's actually they take meat cells and grow them in a petri dish, almost like cloning in the cow. They're cloning it.
That's crazy.
So they're replicating that same cell over and over and over. And what if that's a corrupted cell? All we're doing is
mass producing a corrupt cell.
That's the problem with the labradoodle.
Is there a problem with the labradoodle? I don't have one.
Well, if they keep merging these dogs and breeding them, then they get the health problems of the dog.
Yeah, that does tend to happen with these designer dogs.
And that if we do designer meat, we're going to have the same problem. We went off road with that.
That's okay. That's okay.
I love labradoodles. I think they're cute. Don't send me a hate mail, please.
I think they're cute too, but they do start to have issues after a while. Okay, grounding. So grounding is biblical. Like you go outside in the morning, put your feet in the grass. Supposedly, if the earth is living, and let's just think of this, and all the energy of the earth is there, we wear all this crap on our feet all the time and we don't benefit that. So grounding is where you're just putting your foot to the earth and you're getting all of the benefits of that. I believe if you walk through a field in the grass, you feel the endorphins, you feel the good, do I have any scientific evidence? No. But it is a positive. If people can ground, with that also add like seeing the early morning sunlight. Mm-hmm. If we wake up and the first thing we feel, what do? We grab this. Right. But you're supposed to go outside and soak up a little bit of the sun. If you live in an environment where you can do that, you are supposed to put your feet in the grass, mm-hmm. unless it's, fake grass. But do that, watch the early morning sunset, walk in the grass barefoot, pray, meditate. Don't fill yourself with your phone. My husband's cringing. No, it's true. Listen, well, he's cringing because that's his first thing. The woo-woo girl. I am all about, the meditation, the prayer, the grounding. I think a lot of healing is going back to nature. I think when we talk about it's my favorite so far. My early morning, we live in Florida, so sun is here a lot, but it doesn't have to be direct sunlight. There's mornings I watch the sun rays come through the clouds and, it's a good quiet time, to be up, to be alive, to feel alive. So I put that up at the top. I was a shift worker and, I know a lot of people are a fan of blackout shades, but I really worry about throwing off our circadian rhythm. I don't want blackout shades. I want to know when it's sunny outside. I know when it's dark outside. I don't like to be tricked like that when it comes to sunlight. Now I know that's, a lot of people will totally disagree with me when it comes to good sleep, but I think it's important for your body to know when it's dark out and when it's light out. We were in Kodiak, Alaska last summer visiting my kids, and the day they only 3 hours of night. It was bizarre. We watched the sunset and it's still bright. I don't know how they do that. I don't either. That would be hard. Grateful that we're closer to the equator where we have a more even, but some people really have to work with the dark out curtains. They have children in that, sun's up all the time. Yeah. Well, the guy just got back from Michigan in the summertime. Sun starts coming up around 5:30, 6 o'clock. And then the sun goes down at around, 10:30 is when the sun sets. I love it, man. It is you get 2 days in one. Wait till you're there in winter. No, I'm coming back to you in Florida. All right. You have a 4-hour. Exactly. All right. Sex. It's not on the list. I got a list here. She didn't make me laugh because of that, but I wear a Whoop. I'm wearing the Whoop trainer. There it is. Whoop monitors. So first of all, I have to say this. We met my son in Indiana for a birthday, and he's so worried about this podcast because he's afraid I'm going to say something about him. Oh, okay. I'm more worried he's going to hear me talk about sex. Well, that's all part of your story, your health, your best life, sex. So, sorry, son, I'm not talking about you. I'm going to talk about sex. Okay. So I'm wearing this Whoop Walk, and it tells you whether, it told me the morning sunshine was good for me, mm-hmm. and it told me the grounding was good for me, and then it told me sex was bad for me. What? And then my husband said, it's because you hold your breath. So I don't know. Okay. So how about sex with breathing exercises? It's physical activity. And then people are like, do I hold my breath? And I'm like, I don't know. And do you close your eyes? I don't know. We don't pay attention. But it's funny. My watch was that was a stressful situation for you. So he said, quit tracking. Okay. I like that.
That was his answer. Let's just not know.
I just say yes. I don't have a whole backstory or a watch.
But I do believe.
I don't know if I like my watch monitoring that much. That's a little too big brother for me.
I don't know what they do with all that information, but if relationships give you longevity, friendships, closeness, I mean,
community.
Yeah. So isolation is probably one of the shortening things of your life. So, these things, yes, we joke about, I hold my breath and I'm sure sometimes you'll say breathe, but, he's over in the corner laughing, but we need connection, physical touch, people in our life, people who check on us. If one reason we want to live long or have long is because we have a family or a tribe or a community or have someone that we can reach out to, because life's hard.
Yeah. And it's interesting because whether you're a believer or not, science shows that, people that go to some kind of church, and I'm not telling you what to believe. I'm a Christian myself. I love going to church on Sunday. I have a terrible voice, but I love sitting there and singing, throwing my hands in the air. I love, hearing the positivity. I like being around all the people. And there is a direct link, and you're starting to see more and more young people across the country pouring into, churches and services of different types. Because they're so disconnected with their smartphones. I've got 2 phones. That's one of the things that Tami loves about me the most.
I don't know which one I text.
But I love it. I love going in there. It's something that I do most every Sunday, unless I'm traveling. And even when I'm away, I'll stumble into a strange church that I don't even know where I am.
And, our church family is very important to us. And even when you're away, you still are connected to them.
Right.
Like, there's this bond that, you form over your beliefs and shared things that's really important as we age. So that is a big line. So that's up there with my waking up in the sunshine and walking in the grass.
Okay. The next one is supplementation, which I had a graveyard of supplements. I was just getting anything I saw on the Instagram and on the TikTok. And then I realized after she did a urine analysis, this is not good. I'm a big supplement fan, but now I'm a big third-party tested, know what you're taking supplement girl.
And know what it's actually doing. Like, if you come to my house, I look like a used vitamin store. We test everything on ourselves. We try them on everybody. But if you don't have a deficiency and you're just throwing the stuff at it, you're just making expensive urine.
True.
That's the truth. But there are some things that supplementing a deficiency will add your body to healing. I think the biggest deficiency we all have is magnesium. Yeah. We walk around magnesium deficient, and the body needs. So one of the most important factors in blood pressure and heart and all of that is the potassium, magnesium, sodium balance. And we eat a lot of salt. We have a lot of salt. Doctors tell you don't eat salt, but they don't tell you need to add magnesium. We need potassium. So we need to know your deficiency, and you need to eat for the deficiency. We need to stick with it. A lot of us buy a supplement, take 2 or 3, and then we put it in the supplement drawer.
No, I'm a diehard. I love my supplements. I wanted to talk about one of my favorites. This is one of my longevity hacks. I love creatine, and I have a girlfriend of mine. I'm going to give her a shout out. Again, this is another brand desperation. No, I'm just kidding. But my friend JJ Virgin came out with sheatine, which is a creatine for women. And I like it. I take it every day. I've noticed a huge difference.
So creatine is essential for men and women. We first thought it was for bodybuilding, and we didn't want to get bulky, this and that. But women should take 5 grams of creatine daily.
All right, my another big hack that I have noticed mega gains at the gym, which that is another big hack of mine because I'm getting ready to turn 60 and I lift heavy weights. I'm a diehard with it. I do a very bioavailable, it's been tested. It's incredible. I found an amino acid out there that is like unbelievable. And when I started really staying consistent with it, they mark at the gym what you're lifting. And they said, one of the female coaches, she said, you're the only person I know that could go on vacation and come back stronger. What are you doing? And I thought she was joking. But the next time I came back, she goes, no, seriously, Gail, what have you changed? Because what you're able to lift is so much more. And it was this amino acid. I think that's a big one, especially if you train.
So, amino acids come from the breakdown of protein. So a lot of us can't eat the amount of protein we need. like you, Gail, probably need 90 to 120 grams of protein a day. And like, I don't see you eating a 6-egg omelet and 2 chicken breasts.
No, or a big old steak. This has the protein synthesis of an 8-ounce steak.
So we are able to add these before our workout, for our meals, to keep that amino acid production up without all the calories and the side effects. So I agree, a great amino acid product. We actually prescribe them here for our GLP clients too, because they're eating less. It helps them preserve muscle and do things like that.
All right, here's another one that I think this might be bullschnickel. Gluten-free. I know there's celiac people out there, but everybody's like, oh, I'm gluten-free. I'm gluten-free. No, I'm gluten-free.
So it's funny. What we're learning a lot about the MTHFR gene.
What?
Yeah.
I let her say the big words.
I won't tell you what we call it, but it has mother in the front and Ecker on the end.
Oh, okay.
Gene. But 60% of Americans carry it, and we can't methylate folic acid, which is in flour. So enriched or enhanced flour has folic acid sprayed on. Everyone's like, well, folic acid is a nutrient we need, right? We get it when we're pregnant. We don't. We need methylated folate. It's a chemical form of it. It leads to gut disturbance, ADHD, attention. It leads to all these problems. When you eat in another country where they don't have enriched flour, you suddenly don't have gluten sensitivity.
Exactly. Now, that is my caveat. I don't just eat any gluten. Like I literally import my pasta. So I do eat gluten, but I'm very picky of what gluten I will eat.
So there are celiac disease. There are people that are gluten intolerant, but then there's a whole gamut of people that really just are poorly diagnosed on why they don't tolerate American breads, flours, and pasta.
Yeah, I'm not going to the bread aisle. And even, you need to be super careful because even some of the frozen breads out there that are supposed to be these healthy breads, it's sad. They're starting to find glyphosate, the Roundup Ready spray, even on those. Like it's just drifting in the air.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, that's another good one. All right, I've kind of, red light therapy, man. If you have that in your sauna, which I want the sauna red light thing, red light therapy, I think is a game changer. I wish I had access to it.
You do here.
Yeah, I do.
You live up the street. You
yeah,
come here
come in and just jump in the red light.
So yes, red light therapy is amazing. It detoxifies the body. It improves our vision, our skin health, our joint health. Red light is infrared light. It can be channeled at various levels that penetrate the body and do healing. Looks like a tanning bed. It feels like a tanning bed, but you can have your eyes open in it. It is a huge hack. You don't need to do a lot of it, 15 minutes, 3 times a week. Men that are losing their hair or women, it can keep their hair from falling out. So it has many, many health benefits. There's a lot of phonies on the market. I tell people if the red light device you bought didn't cost you at least $700, you probably didn't buy anything of any value. And a lot of people get in a red light device, a high quality one, like half the lights are burnt out. What's infrared? You can't see it. But yes, so one of my hacks is red light therapy bed and the infrared sauna with red light therapy.
I do have to throw out the journalist out there because I do, got paid many, many, many years to do research. You need to be careful even about your red light source because a lot of tanning bed companies realize that, they're not getting the business they used to because people don't want to get skin cancer. Not saying that I'm not throwing out any claims of what causes skin cancer, but at the end of the day, they're converting them to red light beds. To Tami's point, all red light is not created equal. So you really need to make sure that you're getting into the red light zone that you need to be in for the healing effects at a cellular level, right?
And there's so many places cropping up. This doesn't have to be expensive or you can go. There's a place here in town we have that have unlimited longevity hacks that we're talking about for $99 a month. Membership.
Unbelievable.
So you don't have to go buy a bed. You don't have to buy a sauna. You don't have to do all this. You just have to find places, make it part of your routine. You ready for my longevity hacks?
Mm-hmm.
They might be different than yours.
Okay.
Number one thing that will prevent aging is muscle.
Oh.
Gail touched on that, but the older you get, the heavier you have to lift, and you have to lift more frequency. Even in 80, you should be able to carry your own grocery bags, carry your furniture around, just be lifting heavy things and a lot of it, and flexibility. You should make sure that when you're 95 years old, if you fall on the floor, you can get yourself back up, like work on that. And what happens is somehow we stop lifting weights and we stop being active as we get older. Like somehow that's acceptable.
I think it's because when it comes to weightlifting, because that's my number one hack. I think women think they're going to bulk up and you don't. If anything, it morphs your body in.
I'm not doing what you did because you're more morphed than me. I've had a different season than she has recently. No, and then number 2 is when we talk about aerobic activity, zone 2.
Okay.
Everybody wants hits good for a short amount, heavy, but really as you age, you want to make sure you're getting 30 to 45 minutes a day of zone 2 cardiovascular activity.
I need to do that.
And that is just where you can still carry on a conversation, but you're a little winded.
Okay.
You're not out of breath. Like people say, why walk my dog? Why are you walking your dog where the dog's not even out of breath? Like it has to be at a pace where you're not, and you can wear a heart monitor. It'll tell you what your zone 2 is, but they found that zone 2 cardiovascular activity daily will prevent aging.
Okay, that's a good one. I need to incorporate more zone 2 in my life. Mm-hmm. What's next?
And then on top of that, you have your days when you really hit the cardio. Like you want to do some HIIT training. You want to take it up some days. But I remember you telling the story one time, getting on a treadmill and running yourself to death every day in a zone 3 or 4 where you're dying is just tearing your body apart. It's really not adding longevity. It's hurting you.
And I was doing that because I was gaining so much weight from my thyroid issue, only to find out that running was taxing my thyroid even more. And that was causing me to continue to gain weight. I could not move the needle. In fact, the needle kept heading in the wrong direction when I was on that treadmill.
And when we cut people back to zone 2 and we tell them to focus not on anything other than the time in that zone, they actually start losing weight and feeling better. So it doesn't have to be high intensity all the time, burning yourself out. And yes, then you're adding, you got the sunlight and you got the grass and the dog and it's just zone 2 cardiovascular activity. If you can do it outside is a great hack.
All right. I'm not doing it outside now. It's too hot in Florida.
I love the heat.
Oh, I hate it. All right. What's next?
So this is one we've learned recently, water flossing.
Oh, I love it.
So
I do it every night. With a water pick?
Water flossing, yes. So people are like, and it's funny, I've asked a couple of people in the dental community and like, well, it's okay. But they're really not getting it from a longevity hack. But what we find is the bacteria and the stuff that gets underneath our gums actually is cutting down our life expectancy. So if we're constantly taking care of our gum health, our bone health in the mouth, and doing good oral care, including water flossing, they've shown that is a great longevity hack.
Yeah, the whole biodentistry, your mouth's correlation to your health is exploding. And so I love that. I'm still trying to figure out something that can take out these weird fillings that I got when I was, 10 that are silver.
So I have those, and every dentist said I need to take them out. But when I did my environmental tox screen, I didn't have any mercury. So maybe they're not as bad as you think.
Okay. Well, I need you to check.
Because when they drill them out, they expose you to all that through your bloodstream. So,
well, you've got to go to a biodentist. You can't just go to your regular dentist. It has to be somebody that knows how to take them out.
Mine aren't causing me any problems. So
okay. I need to recheck that.
I hate going to the dentist, so you're not drilling my teeth.
Okay. All right. What's your other big hacks?
Back just a little bit to the oral health. I've been in healthcare for 30 years. Oral health is so important just because we're in everybody's face. So we're the chronic Listerine garglers, the gum chewers, we're all that because we're always in someone's face. And when I did that oral biome study, my mouth was sterile. And that's why I had problems. You have to have bacteria. You shouldn't sterilize your mouth. You have to have good bacteria. And when you sterilize your mouth and get rid of the good bacteria, the bad bacteria takes over. So scraping your tongue doesn't have to be every day. You don't have to kill your tongue, but scrape the plaque off of it. Use a good toothpaste that passes the endocrine disruptor thing. Water pick. Do those things. You know what? I don't feel like I need gum anymore. I don't feel like I need Listerine. I don't use any of that because my now natural flora is back.
I like that. That's a good one.
I went to the dentist and he's like, what are you doing? Your teeth, you don't even have plaque. So plaque actually went away when I got rid of that stuff.
I've never been a girl to gargle.
I don't know if I gargle, but
what do? You swish it? I don't do that.
I don't know.
All right. Next one.
I don't even know if gargles, is it a word?
I think so.
Gargling. So that was one of the big ones. We did creatine together. A balanced diet.
Yeah.
So there's studies out there where plant-based isn't good and meat only isn't good. I think the Mediterranean diet and our friends in Greece and Italy really know that's the blue zone. And when you watch that, if you eat simple like they do, like when you're there, you go to the market and you get a piece of fish or chicken for the day and you get fresh produce and you pull the whole thing together and you eat simply. And they don't eat huge portions. They eat what's left over the next day. It's just if we dial back and eat more like your Nonna, I think that would give us not only quality of life, but longevity.
I know the Nonna diet is like a big thing everybody on social media has been talking about. I've been talking about it forever because I had a Nana Katie and I eat exactly like she fed me as a child. And that's another thing that I love. And I really want you and your husband to come visit us up in Michigan. It's another thing I really love about being in that upper Michigan. Say there's a Saturday market when you go and I get all the local vegetables. I buy my meats from the local meat farmer. You buy your milk from the local dairy. They have co-op grocery stores where you look like you're walking into a main store like Publix, but on every shelf, you're not going to find anything with additives or it's all clean food that you shop for. And so from between the markets and those types of grocery stores, I'm with you 1,000%. And back to the Mediterranean diet, that always scores the highest.
A lot of people will say, well, I can't afford that. It's actually cheaper.
It's cheaper.
Oh my God, it's so much cheaper. The junk we buy is so expensive. If you dial back and really eat clean, it is cheaper. You'll feel better.
And you'll eat less because you're not eating empty calories.
So I won't be fair from the medical side of this not to tell you about medical hacks for longevity.
Okay, let's go.
So there's a few. There's a drug called rapamycin.
Okay.
It was discovered on Easter Island in 1964. They thought it was going to be an antibiotic, but they have found that it helps with organ rejection in transplant patients. Taking at a certain dose once a week can prevent aging.
Okay.
It's a great drug, has very little side effects. People will Google it and they're like, well, that's high doses for organ transplant. Like really at the small doses we do, people are like, what does it feel like? I don't know. I don't know what anti-aging feels like. Feels good. Like you don't have a feeling from some of these.
Okay.
A diabetic drug, metformin, has been shown in low doses to improve longevity. And it probably has to do with the same thing the GLP-1s are adding. And the GLP-1 is another great hack for longevity in low doses. It gets rid of insulin resistance, helps the body regulate sugar. Sugar is really the biggest enemy towards aging. And glutathione. A powerful antioxidant, best served IV. And I know everybody's saying, well, I got a liposomal version or an oral. It's really best served IV. There are a couple transdermal approaches that with Dr. Patel has put out that are good, but it detoxifies the body and it's an antioxidant. It has been shown to improve skin health, longevity, bones. And then the new frontier, and I know I kind of skimmed over those quick because each one would deserve an episode on its own, is exosomes, stem cells.
I was going to ask you about stem cells. You see people with like a bad knee or, some kind of injuries, they go for stem cell therapy, but that'd be expensive.
It doesn't have to be. And if you look at what a stem cell is, a stem cell, and I'm going to put in simple language, is a baby cell that hasn't become a cell yet. So it becomes whatever cell it's supposed to be. We have stem cells in our fat. We have them everywhere. Kind of got a bad rap because suddenly, we had Planned Parenthood and we were selling baby parts for stem cells and neuro tissue. And the reason that was, and it's a very wrong reason in our country, that they were trying, if you grew spinal cord cells or nerve cells, you could help a paraplegic or a quadriplegic walk again. And It's hard to get those from a living human. You're not going to offer your spinal cord.
Right.
So somebody, even though it got bad and corrupted, was saying, well, if we're already doing this horrific procedure and that, let's utilize the tissue if we can. Totally went to a financial gain for somebody and needed to stop. That kind of stopped it for everybody. But we can get those similar stem cells from the umbilical cord at the birth of an infant. And parents can donate those. And those cells, that baby's not been vaccinated, hasn't had any chronic disease. Those are really young, vital cells.
What about the placenta? That was a big thing, taking the placenta.
So placenta is a completely different thing. So we're not using the cells for it, but there is a benefit to saving the placenta. or holding on to the placenta if one of your children develop. But these, they call it Wharton's jelly, these cells, and they can actually take 5 or 10,000 of them and grow them in a dish to a billion. And, they can replicate these cells over and over. But what we found is if we inject them to in a knee or in the bloodstream or in the scalp, we actually turn on the cells there to reproduce themselves and move on and on and on and keep replicating. So it's a fascinating thing. And you can find them now everywhere from IV therapy, where you receive them in an IV, to microneedled into your face or scalp after a laser procedure or injected into a joint. Some people will say, well, do I need to go to Panama or Mexico and it's $30,000? They're going to have true stem cells harvested. They're not going to have exosomes, which we have. What is the difference? True stem cell is the live cell. Exosomes are the live cell denatured. So they have to go in your body and turn your cell on. Pros and cons on that. That's just where we are with the FDA right now. But there are studies that show if you take these stem cells and inject them in the pancreas of an insulin-dependent diabetic, they no longer need insulin.
I love it.
So that's the frontier of medicine. How do we regenerate what we have in that? And how do you do it safely? And how is it regulated? Here, all of our stem cells come from a tissue bank. They're all tested. They're that. We have stem cells in our own body, like PRP, when we draw your blood and spin it down. But I tell people, would you say you're 59 and a half?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want 59 and a half year old cells, or do you want baby cells? So sometimes we get to that point, and some of the cheaper manufactured stem cells are from 89-year-old people's bone. They harvest them from bone. And then you're subjected to, did they have a disease process going on? Do they have certain vaccines you didn't approve of and that? So baby stem cells from mothers who donate, that is probably one of the most exciting things we have going on.
You mentioned PRP. I tried that.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't work for me, and it was painful too.
It also, probably the way they microneedled it in your scalp or injected it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've gotten better at that.
Okay.
We are growing hair with men and women using the laser, the Moxie.
Oh, yeah.
And the Moxie will burr the perfect size hole to the hair follicle. And then when we apply the exosomes or stem cells, it goes right to the hair follicle and nourishes the hair. And we've seen hair growth within 3 to 4 weeks after one treatment. We do one a month for 4 months and really restore hair. It's pretty much painless. Probably just heat, like your scalp was in the sun for about an hour. So we're finding better ways to deliver these modalities. But I think any hack has to include some sort of exosome or stem cell therapy.
All right. This has been a great one. Longevity.
So
that's it for now.
That's it. That's all we got.
Your story,
your health,
your best life.
See you soon.